It is 80 days now since the death of George Floyd, which so inflamed divisions around race in America and inspired protests around the world. For millions, there was a sense of unstoppable change. So, for the last in our Race in America reports, we've been back to Minneapolis, where, of course, George Floyd died. The shrine to him is still there, but so are those divisions and the discrimination that the protests were meant to end. It is a city that even now has yet to come together about a way forward, and where your job, your home, your healthcare and your school do come down to the colour of your skin.
In downtown Minneapolis, the street corner which went around the world, the place where George Floyd died, is now a place of pilgrimage. The roads are blocked off and locals tend the memorials. One day this junction will have to return to normal, but not yet.
People are trying to get back to, working and, back to normal. But for normal for me is them killing black people, and I can't get back to that.
On the corner itself, the store is opening up for the first time in 3 months. The police officers who killed George Floyd were responding to a call made from here. They had received counterfeit money. Now they only make emergency calls if there is a violent incident.
It's no secret that this community isn't ready for a police presence. That's okay. That's okay. But let's not do it at the expense of creating a rest haven for crime. We've had 190 shootings since May 25th and 19 murders.
Calls to defund the police echo most loudly on these streets. Weeks of protest have seen police stations burned or abandoned. And while the city's authorities struggle with how they might win back trust in their law enforcement, grassroots organisations in the suburbs are dedicated to lasting and meaningful change.
You can have people protesting when things happen, but after 1 week or 2 weeks, everybody goes back home. We really have to push it harder, make sure everybody is on the same board, make sure we really hold our lawmakers accountable.
If we look at the systematic stuff, like the systematic racism, I don't think there's a lot of changes that have necessarily happened, but there have been baby steps happening. So I feel like our funds can go into a lot of sources that can actually help our community. And I feel like we just spend way too much money on our police, whether it's militarized weapons, riot gear, whatever the case is, they're just getting too much funding, and I think it needs to be reallocated.
I have been aware of racism for many, many years. My son is biracial, and I feel like for the first time I'm seeing that more white people are wanting to be involved. You see Black Lives Matter signs everywhere now, and to me that brings me a lot of hope that there will be change. It might not be in my time, it might not be in our kids' time, but I feel hopeful for my grandchildren.
The outrage sparked by the way one man died here was built up over hundreds of years of harm done. Equality before the law is supposed to be a fundamental American right. In the 4th century of this country, so many Americans are still fighting for it. Geraint Vincent, News at 10, Minneapolis.